Shabbat Shalom, Kulanu, everybody. It's nice to see your faces. Welcome to the part of our discussion for Shabbat, for Sukkoth. You know, I receive a lot of websites, videos of things that are going on in the world, debates, and we see that people propose solutions, different solutions to the problems that we're experiencing in this world, and there are many. And suddenly it just hit me. You know, I've thought of it before, but it hit me more strongly yesterday that we don't know the solution for most of the things that are going on because they are just too huge. It's almost like things have to be completely destroyed in order to rebuild again. I know that there's a special tree that grows out in British Columbia, and it has an acorn that is so hard, so strong, the seeds in it cannot be taken out. The only time that the seeds of this acorn are released are when there's a huge fire. And when there's a fire and the trees are burnt down, the seeds are released from the acorn and new trees can begin again. Now, only God could have thought of that. We certainly can't. And we try to figure out, how are we going to make things right? How can we possibly fix the things that we're seeing on this planet? Because I look out and I see insanity reigning. And yet, when I read our scriptures and I see all we have to do, our part in all of this, is to learn how to trust God, to keep his commandments, to be good, to love ourselves, to love our neighbor, to treat each other well, to keep his festivals, to give to his work, to tithe, to do things that are basically simple but difficult because we prefer to do things our own way. And it's almost too simple. We love to complicate things. Religion and politics definitely love to complicate things, but it's not a difficult message, but it's frustrating for those of us who teach the Torah because we see it, and we know the struggle that it takes just in our own lives to live these commandments. And so these holidays, these 7 holidays that have been given to us, are such a gift. It's a gift, as I said, of heightened awareness of God's existence. And I mean, everybody knows that there's something special about it. And even those who have changed them know that there's something special about them. And to me, it's sad because many of the other holidays that are made by humans, by human hands, bring a lot of either sadness to them or evil to them or a sense of loneliness, but God's festivals are about us coming together, about us becoming one as a people, one as a nation, and being a testimony to others. To me, these holidays are so special. I never understood them when I was growing up, because what we were taught is Hanukkah, you eat latkes, and you give Hanukkah geld, Hanukkah money. It's not even in the 7. At Purim is not in the 7. Those were made higher, believe it or not.
Simchas Torah.
Simchas Torah, which is Simchat Torah, is an added day, an added holiday. It's not in the Torah. And hopefully next week we will listen to a message. Mauricio, I think it's your turn. Next week you'll bring us a message on Shmini Atzeret. Our rabbi would teach us how the 8th day was the day that Yeshua was circumcised, because he was born on the first day of Sukkoth. And he showed us in his teaching. So this is another holy assembly, a day that we come together as a community. We gather. It's a blessing that we can gather here, because it's so difficult now to gather in one place when, first of all, because we're few. Second of all, because we don't have a place anymore. But this to me is very special. And I'm hoping that I don't take it for granted. By the way, Mauricia, do you know the expression take it for granted? Do you understand what it means? How do you say that in Spanish?
Dar por hecho.
Dar por hecho.
Dar por hecho.
Dar por hecho. We take it for granted. I appreciate it so much more now than when we were doing it, when I had to get up every week, early in the morning, get dressed, leave, pick up people, go to Shabbat, open the door, get ready. It was, after a while, I didn't want to do it anymore. It was hard labor. And I started to take it for granted. Going to the Alvarados tomorrow for Sukkoth to celebrate it. Every year we would go. It was, although it was fun, we would gather the bulrushes, we would gather branches, we would build a sukkah all together right after Yom Kippur. And it was like a blessing. But when you have something all the time, we tend to take it for granted. And I'm learning not to do that.
Well, tomorrow you said how excited you were, and me too. We're going to the Alvarados.
Yes. And Mauricio is flying in with his whole family.
It will be more subestimar.
What?
Subestimar. Subestimar. That is the right word for Spanish.
Subestima?
Subestimar.
To take for granted.
To take for granted. Okay.
You are giving a lower value that it's real. It's real value.
I see. You know, there's so many expressions that are very difficult. And even in Spanish, if you come from a different country, this expression is different. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the message.
Yes.
For me, it was wonderful writing it.
It was such a good message because it was so clear. And it was almost like when you reduce, like when you make a perfume and you put in a small little bottle or a vial, you're distilling all the essence of what different flowers are, etc. So you took all the holidays and you distilled it, and basically God wants us to turn to him, and that's what the holidays are about. I like the way you said that all the holidays, including the Shabbat, are speaking of the very existence of God. And we try and write or talk or make very complicated sort of nuanced meanings, and it's really beautiful simplicity. It's like a beautiful painting with many colors, and people say, I wonder what the painter meant by this, whatever. No, it's just an expression of the reality and beauty of God's existence. And you distilled it into a little vial and made a perfume, and that's the holidays. We just maybe heightened awareness at this time.
If you're in a relationship, if you're in a marriage and trust is broken, it's almost like the marriage is over. The relationship is broken, and it's very difficult to regain the trust. So the whole process of everything that God does for us is for us to learn to trust him. If we trust God, no matter what happens, we will not be sick or suffer from the anxieties that we go through. Look at what's happening in the world today, the depression, the heightened level of anxiety in so many people, the fear, what's going to happen tomorrow? You know, the price of food is going up. How am I going to eat? Yet look at how God has provided for us in the midst of all of it. You know, when I had to go, my hands are starting to look like it's my mother's. It's very scary. My fingers are getting crooked. My things are not gnarled. I'm getting old, so older. So I decided to ask the doctor, is there anything I can do? And he said, go and have an x-ray and have certain blood tests, and maybe we'll see what we can do from there. So yesterday I decided it was the time to go, or the day before. I got up. I had made an appointment in advance. I went to the clinic, not far from me, for the blood. Honestly, I was in and out within 10 minutes. I walked in, there was one person in front of me. It was shocking. And then from there, I went to the next place, which was an X-ray clinic, where usually you have to wait for hours. I walked in, just handed them the requisition. I was in and out in 15 minutes. And I went, wow, God makes a way for us. But something happened. I started to feel very proud of myself. I started saying, look how special I am. Then I went to my third appointment. The third appointment was for another thing, and I waited 2 hours. And not only that, but there was a guy who came in, a very wealthy Jewish man who just looked like he'd got off the golf course. He walked in, he sat down, and they took him in 2 minutes. I was so upset. So here I allowed my pride to get to me. And then I said to myself, okay, this guy may have pull with the doctor because he knows him. He's a good friend, maybe, but I have pull with the creator of the universe. So we always have to find a way to make ourselves feel better. But honestly, it's all about trusting him, no matter what we see going on out there, the craziness. Israel is now is starting to go into another COVID lockdown. They're talking about more vaccines. They're talking about by December, there's going to be total lockdown all over the world. How do they know unless they're creating it? So, and even in that, God, I trust you. And we have to learn how to do that. Our faith is nothing without trusting him. And it only takes taking the step to do something that is so hard, it seems, for us to do, to speak to somebody, to deal with something, to communicate something that's bothering us, to take a step when we're too afraid to do it. Step into the water, Joshua, and the Jordan will part. And this is, the Torah is a picture for us to learn to do that. And I love it.
You know, Peggy, trusting, the action of trusting is knowing that it is, even if you don't know it. But do you think that God doesn't know? He knows everything. So then what is the purpose then? Is that we learn, that we know.
Exactly.
And it goes beyond knowing. It goes, it's like changing the way how we understand and perceive all the things that there are in this world.
Yes.
Sometimes it requires to go through certain steps in our lives. So, and what a beautiful picture, how we have all this moedim just to show us that processes, of going through all that.
Yes.
In order, and then you say, well, but the purpose of trusting is that the Creator wants us to see but consciously, like in the sense of now I know, so I understand everything. So why? For what purpose? Like to prepare us, humanity, and its consciousness for the preparation, transformation, ascension, and finally becoming this human that we are, which is celestial, call it angelical, call it how called to become one, and understanding that we are far beyond than just a mere body in a physical reality, that we have part of a Creator in us, that we are spirit as he is, that we are one with him, with the Creator, and with its creation. This is it. And when we see all this, it's like the Creator, I will say, this all these festivals, like if you see the purpose and all you understand, for example, for Passover, the understanding of it, like you have to look at it, where we are, and what is the transformation, what is the change, what is the thing that we need to learn about it. From being slave, knowing about slavery, knowing that you don't have any right to decide for yourself, any right to that you have to follow what Pharaoh has to impose, to becoming out of that transition, that process of detachment, but more for us in a way that we know already, that we trust in, in this case, where all these miracles that happened in Egypt and all this. And it's a way how we will understand and how our conscience will be transformed. But this is just one step. Now we have to go through the desert. Now we have to go through a period of learning and all. And I can go on for all the rest of the Moedim, like Yom Teruah, the sounding, the blasts. It's like the awareness that the Creator is trying to put in our conscience, that there is a time that is coming, that is near, where we have already acquired so much knowledge from the Creator through what we learned, during all these years, 4,000 years, 6,000 years, that humanity is going to reach a pivotal point where there is a transformation of humanity at every single level, not only nothing to do with the physical, but more the aspect that the knowledge, the wisdom, the spiritual, the divine, the becoming the real humanity that we are, the creators, human. And now, then, we have these, other festivals like Yom Kippur, and then, the Sukkoth, when we dwell, with the Creator. I think just an aspect of living, in the presence of the Creator, which means all one, be one, and the Creator, and it's very, very, very beautiful. It's all,
Yeah, it is. And we have to remember that as long as we're in this body, we are going to, it's almost like the body warring against the spirit, because the spirit has such a connection with God, and the body has such a connection with the earth. It's so physical. And as much as we try to do the right thing, to say the right thing, the dog returns to his vomit. I always think of that. I may say to myself, I'm not eating any sweets today. And then in a moment, my brain forgets that I said that, and out come the sweets. Mm-hmm. It's like we constantly will, it's a job. It's a full-time job to be obedient to his commandments. We war against our nature. Some people are procrastinators. Angel, I'm sure you know nothing about procrastinating.
Who?
I'm too fast. I'm the type that jumps off the cliff and then asks how high it is afterwards. It's like, we all have something we have to learn how to deal with in our natures. But the holidays are more than that. The holidays are more than internal self-examinations, as we do every single day of the year. The holidays are for us to come as a community to do that. What are we as a community doing to serve our fellow man? What are we as a community doing to be a light to the nations? This is what the holidays, and as a whole, there's no other time of year when you see people rushing into the synagogue is on Yom Kippur. Like I'm sure in churches, they rush on Christmas for Christmas Mass, or Easter. Those are the holidays because they know there's something special about that. Even people who don't believe in God will go, to church on Christmas, or Yom Kippur to synagogue on Yom Kippur. There's something about this time where God is calling people to come together, because he wants us to be unified. And the world wants us divided. Together we stand, united we stand, divided we fall.
Also, we keep forgetting sometimes when we read the scriptures that everything that the Creator, when we have on these scriptures, is that to teach us, right? And it's always there's ways how we see that it's spoken in a figurative way.
Yes. A picture.
Like
Yes.
you were talking about in Israel when the Lord will just came down and he will set up his feet and he will
Right.
this is all figurative. First of all,
Yes.
God, it's not physical, so
Of
it's not,
course.
I mean, but and the representation of that, it's that it's gonna be movement. It's
Yeah.
gonna be the land is gonna be transformed.
Yes.
It's gonna be a big changes.
Yes.
What that requires a lot of could be earthquakes, it could be, if you see, for example, Yeshua when he passed, when he was there was a big earthquake,
Yes.
and so there are things that they are for purpose, they are there is I like to call it divine plan. And
Yes.
always it's when it's carried out by the creator and his divine community. We call it angels, we call it ascended teachers or people, angels or divine beings that they are higher realms that we are right now. They are constantly on that. God is caring of his creation, and there are things that are going to happen, and they're going to happen according to his plan. Okay, so we need to trust in him, and also we need to be aware of all the things that are happening.
Amen.
We cannot sit down and there are beautiful teachings that Yeshua, our teacher, taught us. And among them, remember the parable about the virgins and sleeping, that they went to sleep, and the oil, and I don't remember it word by word, but there is always there is
Always be prepared.
Are where they you cannot tell the truth, okay, but you can tell the mean behind. I mean, you cannot tell it directly like Yeshua was always trying to, because it requires this it requires from you to search. It requires from you in order to fusion this reality, this truth in your life. If I tell you, okay, you have this and this and this, you have not going through a process of understanding. You
Right.
just got it. Oh, he said it, but you can say, okay, well, now I know it, but it's not the same. You will later on in the future, probably you will change your mind, because it has not been this living, strong and powerful understanding of this fact. So when we see that Yeshua was talking and teaching us about this, it was to give us examples, that there is
But
a time.
he also gave us a
Life, and the time is here, and we see it in the world.
Yeah.
We are living these times that of transformation, and we're going to see great things from now on. There are so many things that are going to come out, things that have been hidden for many, many, many years, and learning truth about humanity and things, great things, and
Yeah.
not only that, because we are on these days, it's we are becoming part, and when you become part and you get closer to the Creator, we're going to see the surrounding. We're going to see, when we see in the prophets, they're talking about, the chariots of fire. We're going to, when you see how the prophets saw in visions, like the Creator surrounded with all these creatures with faces, and that tells you, okay, a lot. It tells you in a figurative way.
Well, they probably couldn't. They had no understanding of what it could be. It could be a drone, that's going to drop a little nuclear missile on people.
There is another thing that
hold on, because it said the eyes would melt in their sockets, the tongue would melt
Exactly. Doesn't
Yeah.
sound like a nuclear explosion
Yeah.
where you melt everything at the molecular level, you know, like
Right.
but that we need to be careful because as you know, the creator has always given us a free choice, you know, and that means because when we are religious, we are focusing only on creator, and that's what the creator says, you know, has to be, and but the creator give us choice. If the creator would have wanted us just to be robots, he wouldn't have given us free choice, which means we are the ones who will decide for our actions too. When God tells you, you know, not to steal and encourages you to be, you know, a good person, to honor the works of your hands, and you know, that is because with one it will lead you for one another, you know, it will lead you in another path, and the other one, you know, it will lead you for a better way. No, you're not trying to understand with examples, but yeah,
Can we give Angel,
yeah.
can we give Mauricio a little bit of time to say something, because I would like to hear, the time is going very quickly. So
So in other words, just to finish what I was trying to say about the free will, and that we are, despite of being under the creators, we are participants, which means we can decide for our future too, and we can work for it, for a better, in a better conscious, with a better idea, with a better thing. It's up to us, okay? And the creator give us this, and we have that, you know, to do it.
thank you.
Shalom, everyone. I was listening everything, and also thank you, Pei, for the message. I think the problem is that the message is so simple, in the humans wants to create like a barrier, I would say, okay, in order that people look not a direct relationship with God, but a relationship with leaders. And people also is looking for the humans, because those they can see, okay. I can see the leader but sometimes I believe that it is part of being human, okay. It's incredible that many of our, because I was reading something about this Moedim, and some of these Moedim, honestly, they came from antecessors from pagan cultures, and it's interesting because a Canaanite festival was very similar to our Sukkoth. Honestly, I believe that the problem is, you know, that when we don't give the right how to say that, when we don't focus on what is really this festival about, with the right perspective, then we can fall in just to have a festivity like the Canaanites, or like another one festivity in the world, okay.
It's a little bit like the sacrifices.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it is like, you know, to celebrate Halloween or to celebrate, it's another day. I mean, so but it's a time also just to show joy, but also to make me think about, I don't know if you have seen a video. If not, I can search for you, and it's about that is calling us to it's a calling to be humble in the world. So the video starts with a woman in the grass in the field. Okay, she decides she's at a picnic and she decides to rest. Okay, so there's a camera that is starts to come farther from where she is, then goes to the place. Honestly, probably 1 kilometer from distance, and then 2 kilometers, and then more, until they are in the galaxy. So, and the video says who you are in this universe. And when you realize that picture, that all of us, we are like this woman, we are really dust, honestly. Some more or more, but at the end we are just a limited person, and sometimes we lose the point that this festivity is about that, to be humble. Okay, because how can a God decides to dwell among us, and also that we are temporary. Honestly, we are really, I believe we are a glimpse in the history. Okay, what is 100 years? What is 80 years? I mean, honestly, it's nothing.
Mhm.
Okay, you know, right now we are in a process that our dog Nala, she's very sick. Okay,
Oh,
we were this week to the doctor, and they said she has a kidney, how do you say that, malfunction. So
Infection.
yeah, it's not really infection. She needs to have a dialysis, but in this country we don't have a dialysis for
a dog.
a dog. Yeah. So but the kidney is working probably at 25%. So she's and she has a low temperature for a dog. She's 3 or 4 degrees down there of the normal temperature. So she's just sleeping and she's waiting. But there is something that I realize, and it's about because my dog, she's from this month. She's right now 13 years old. So
Oh.
probably it's time, no? But she, the dog is not really, I would say, how do you say, you know, like say like
She's not
aullando.
she's not complaining.
Yeah, she's not complaining at all. Okay, she and you can see her in peace, and I say, oh, God is teaching me about how to face or the death, honestly. And now I'm looking at her, I realize how everything is a cycle in this life, and probably and death is part of the honestly of the cycle of life. So so then what is just to say thank you, God, because we are in a temporary and not permanent place, and this is Sukkoth, remembering us that this is just a passing through, okay, time in this world. We were created to enjoy what God decided to create, okay, and He wants that we have a full life to really enjoy what He created, what He did for us. But not all the people understand that, sadly. Okay, so and this is what my thoughts for this Shabbat. Okay, just to thank God, to keep humble, and to say thank you, God, for this temporary time. It probably for some will be 120. I hope everybody here is 120, but only know God's know our
Yes.
time, okay? But that we could have a full life, okay? That's my thoughts for the Shabbat.
Yes. And a full life isn't necessarily just being able to go out and buy the biggest car or the biggest house or the most clothes. It's a full life is filled with purpose and with meaning. And as you say, Angel, knowing God, which is an intimate, yadat is an intimate relationship with, it's just knowing that he's there, that I always have someone to depend on. I don't have to worry about every little thing. I don't have to have all the answers. It's because I always had the answers for everything and for everybody.
You know, Mauricio, if you only knew who truly, how magnificent you are, how magnificent we all are. When you say that we have to be small, we have, we are small, when you do doing this comparison of going up and then you realize how small you are. Okay. Don't focus on the material thing. Okay. I understand. Yes, we have to be humble, because without humbleness, we cannot learn. It's the process of de-learning and relearning things. It requires humbleness and acknowledge that we are wrong. Okay. If we don't do that, there is no transformation. If you are not slave, like we were in Egypt, how are you gonna understand what it means to be free? There is all the festivals and everything that the Creator gives us with so much meaning, with so much spirit, understanding, knowledge, and this is what we need to get. We cannot get lost in, you move the lulav in the wrong position, or this is not spirit, this is not, you know what I mean? We are wasting our time. We are not getting it. And God loves us so much that he truly wants to show us that we are so special, that we are so great, that we are, to the point that when God said, the Creator said that he knew you before you will become, becoming dust in a corporeal way. He knew you before, that tells you how magnificent we are previous being in this body that is a physical contained of our spiritual part of the Creator, which we all are spirit. So now when we start digging in that, we go deep in that, we study in that, we are finding truth on that, we are going to see things that are, it's just how precious and how beautiful, and realizing why will the Creator put us in these contained bodies, physical bodies. What is the purpose of that? The purpose of learning, life, learning, developing. There are people that they have been, in religion for so many years and they have not learned anything about it. Maybe just to be, blindly following instructions. Yes, they have learned very good, but they missed a lot of the purpose, the truth. And this is why we are, we don't follow systems, only just for the purpose of following system. No, there is the meaning that the Creator sometimes give us all these teachings for a purpose,
All we are is dust in the wind.
Yeah. This is I don't have the answer really, but I would like to have an open question, okay? Because I was reading the prophet Zechariah, and Zechariah says that all the nations will come and worship the king, okay? The king honestly is our God, okay? And they said that they will come to celebrate the tabernacles festivity in And this is okay. It is open question because one is physical. Okay, I don't know how 7,000 million persons could not go to Jerusalem. Is there even they want to go stand up? Everyone cannot cannot be at Jerusalem at the very same time. Okay, it's impossible.
Maybe they just send an ambassador.
Yeah. Okay. Probably it's about ambassador. Yeah. And but when it says that all the person will worship the king, is that all the religions will disappear, or is that because, for example, we can read in the Bible different meanings about people recognizing that our God is the living God. Even Paro said, oh, this is really the only one God. Okay.
Right. Like Naaman. Naaman
Like
was
Aman,
healed. Yeah.
like
No,
Nabucodonosor, yeah,
Yeah.
is the very same.
Nebuchadnezzar, right.
Yeah. So the question is, recognizing and worshiping is about following the Torah or not?
Look, remember, it's all allegorical. It's all taught or given to us in order to understand the impact, okay? Which means king is a ruler, means ruler, okay? Let's not focus on the human person of a king, but let's focus on the meaning, which is ruler. What is going to be the next thing that humanity is going to be ruled upon? What is the purpose of having all these nations gathering together? It's that the Creator is going to move every single of these creations to come and to be under the same ruler, the same, in this case, under God, under the knowledge that we will learn all together. Because this is, okay, remember we create all these separations of religions, of nations. We create the lines that separate countries. We create the borders that separate countries. And when we get a country and we transform and we make this country, we still continue doing the same thing. We separate on provinces. We separate on we continue that. Why? Why is it? Because we are not understanding the point. We are humanity. And we, as humanity, we need to become one. And until humanity doesn't become one, how can you expect becoming one with God, with the Creator? We need to be one as all. Because God, it's all one. It's echad. It's everything. All the universe. Everything is under His, we are all part of it. No. Please, I'm in the microphone.
Any thoughts, Miriam, on what Mauricio said?
I have so many thoughts. It's I don't know. I can't formulate it right now, but I really love the whole basic message of all the holidays. It's not, and just to say, I don't think it's a matter of us having to search for what is the meaning of life. I mean, we do that naturally, but I think back to what it says in Ecclesiastes. I forget what's the Hebrew word for that book.
I don't remember right now.
Anyway,
yeah.
Where God says just basically that life is good and that He wants us to enjoy this life. Now, what's in the understanding is that you enjoy life in relationship with God. So we know it's not about cars, it's about God. But He doesn't want See, what we tend to do in religions, all religions tend to add hardships. You look, remember we were passing the Hasidim, and some of them look exactly like some of the Muslims, dressed in black, all covered, and the men all covered in black long coats on a day that's sunny and hot. You know, God wants us to live a truly good, fruitful, beautiful life on this earth, and it's very almost materialistic in the sense of earthy, not in the sense of wanting money and cars, but God simply wants us to enjoy this earth. It's not like God needs us to obey him, but we need to know that the true joy on this planet is earthly and spiritual, and we worship the one God of all creation. And that requires a touch from God. I just, in response to you, Angel, I know what you're talking about, unity, but unity, I believe, human unity only comes from God, our relationship with God. You don't have steps like we won't be unified until we
unity only comes.
wait, let me just, sorry, I'm just saying unity only happens when you have a community that belongs to God. Otherwise, you're always going to have disagreements. So to me, what these passages that we read in Zechariah about the world becoming a place where there's going to be light, and the light is going to be from God, won't be from the moon or the sun, and there's going to be joy and crops. That's because at that point, we will all have this touch and recognition that we are all part of that and belong to the same creator. I think that's what will unify the world. We won't have unity because we don't.
Well, as long as we choose, as Mauricio said,
we will have.
leaders, hold on, as long as we choose leaders who are men, because we cannot see God,
Right,
we want to create men into God. So we choose a leader who does not follow God. It will never have that. It's like when we went in to buy the lulav and the etrog, there was one, and I don't want to, I'm not being anti-Semitic here, but what I'm saying is that this was a store. The man who ran the store was a little Orthodox Jewish man who has, you see his love for humanity and love for God. But some of the Hasidim who came in, one man was standing with an etrog, and he must have taken 20 minutes just to examine the tip on the top. It was such a religious act. And like he was, and some of the people who came in, you know, were bargaining with him, and they were rude. And here they're supposed to be celebrating. It's a celebration of joy and unity among our people, and they were being horrible. I was so upset.
Practically didn't acknowledge. I mean, they didn't. There was no community. It was almost a rudeness. Like they almost didn't literally push me, but they needed to get past me. So it was like, I have a job to be done. I have to check every leaf and every, so I'm saying that's not the joy
of following into religiosity and missing the point. You know, isn't the Torah was given to us so that we can target, as I say, you know, the Torah is to target. Well, that is completely opposite of, it's missing completely. But as you were saying, Miriam, there is an option where all humanity comes all as one. And I'm going to tell you, Peggy, when you said about the leaders, that we choose the leaders, do you know why we choose the leaders? Because we don't want to deal with the reality and with the truth, that we don't want to deal with our responsibilities.
Of course.
Give the responsibilities to others. So what happens? They are all the ones that they are smart, and they say, well, I don't care about you. I care about myself because I'm a selfish human individual, and I will do what is best for me, even if I am in charge of a nation. Okay. But, you know, and I will destroy the nation. Look what's happening right now in Canada. You know, all the resources are siphoning all the resources, you know, to big corporation. Anyways, so just coming back, because I can talk. There is, once that we realize, number one, we all have to be responsible. You know why? Because if you are living in a planet everything that we do in the planet affects the other one who is in the other planet. But if we are all, and we all understand that we have a responsibility not only to take care of this planet, but to take care of the people who are in the planet, okay? And that requires responsibility and working all together. But how can you work all together if we have different understandings and different, by focusing on the one thing that everybody has? The people who is African, one who is in Africa, one who is in Australia, one who is in Asia, one who is in the United States, in Europe, in Russia, in South America. We know one thing that unites us all, which is love. Love has to be our focus. Respect has to be our focus, because remember, not everyone is at the same level. We are in different grades, like in school. Some are still learning, some we are very ahead and so high up. So we need to keep this and bring it all like that in perfect equilibrium. Then we will understand. Then we will transform our planet. Then instead of focusing on each other, starting to pull the hair of each other one, or driving crazy or not to each one of us, we will focus on other things that are more important. And that will require time, and understanding. And then we will start focusing on really, the part that we are, the creator, and we will start acting, accordingly too.
Right. And now you begin in Hawkesbury, Mauricio begins in El Salvador, Miriam begins in Côte St. Luc, I begin right here in NDG. We begin with our own people, with our neighbors,
Families.
with our own families.
It
begins with us. Exactly. And we see the difference. We see it getting better. So anyway, I want to wish you a very wonderful rest of the day of Shabbat. Enjoy Sukkoth, Chag Sameach, everybody. And we'll see you tomorrow, God willing. And have a wonderful, wonderful rest of the day.
Chag Sameach.
Chag Sameach.
Thank you, Peggy.
You're welcome.